Good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday, May 9th, 2 days after Lenny's birthday. Well, he had a great birthday this week, and it was on Sunday, and he got a lot of calls, and a lot of people wished him happy birthday, which he loves. So here I am, just giving him a day off, because every once in a while he likes to sit in the chat room and enjoy the conversation with our friends. And as soon as I hear that the sound is good, we will get started. And I don't see it good yet, but I'm sure somebody will let me know.
Eddie Eckman says it's good.
All right. It's so good early, 9:01, and we're on our way. Say hi to everybody here real quick. Calrona Cyclonus, Big Al is here. Nice to see you. Chris Gallo, Data Premier, Eddie Heckman, John Garofalo. Lenny's here. Garofalo, we got a problem, dude. We got a real problem with our boy Oscar Gonzalez, okay? I wait for you all the time to come to the chat room so I can tell you how bad Oscar Gonzalez. That was a horrible pick for us. He did good last year, and now I think he's in the minors now. Yeah. He might have got demoted, but before that, he was just sitting on my bench in fantasy. I don't think I'm still ready to drop him yet, but of course, I decided to drop Marcell Ozuna instead of Oscar Gonzalez, and that little move has not really worked out to my benefit so far. But it's great to see you. I know it's early over there on the West Coast, so thanks for coming, dude. Love to see you. Rotorius, SM King Turd, and Turd Jr., Tommy Johnson, Triple Play, White Sox Al, and a couple of guests, and we will get started right away. So thanks, everybody, for joining in today. Boston Paul was put in the chat room a post about how he felt like home runs were down so much. His question was about, is MLB messing with the balls again? But I'm not really sure. I asked him this morning where he got that information about the home runs being down, because what I came up with when I did a little bit of investigating is that the current home run rate is about .045, which is higher than 2022 and just a little smaller than 2021. Last year, home runs were down 23% compared to 2019, but I'm not really sure where he got that information or what. I assume it's true, but when I go to look it up,
he said he assumed it.
Oh, he assumed it. Is that what he assumed?
That's what he said in the chat room.
Oh, he assumed it. Well, it doesn't look like that's the case so far. Maybe because there's so many stolen bases. I do know that pitchers are throwing fewer fastballs than ever this year, which is interesting, but I don't know really why. If that has something to do with the pitch clock, or there's a lot of questions about how the new rules are affecting baseball. But if it seems like home runs are down, I don't think that's the case, but we'll have to wait it out and see what happens. There's going to be no baseball during the day today again, which is fine with me, but it's Taco Tuesday, so where's Taco? We say hi to Taco down in the free state of Florida. And here's another tidbit. The Dodgers. You would think that the Dodgers are not great, right? Because they just haven't had a good start to the season. They're having a lot of pitching struggles. But they actually have the second best record in the National League behind only one team, the Braves. So the Dodgers, maybe not as bad as, maybe just a little disappointing considering what we expected them to be, but not really that bad with the second best record in the National League. The Pirates, they finally were actually put to the test because they're playing real playoff contending teams now, and they lost 7 in a row. So the Pirates' hot start was definitely due in part at least to the fact that they were playing a bunch of teams that aren't very good. The Orioles announced the attendance for last night's game. It was between the two best teams in the American League, Tampa Bay and Baltimore, and it was only 12,669. So that's not good. But I don't know. The Orioles, I thought they would have more fans than that in the stands. I felt like they must be selling out because Baltimore fans have to be excited about their team this year. Anyway, Lenny was reading a tweet this morning and it said something like, Amir Garrett was throwing up behind the mound and then left the game. And he was like throwing up. He didn't even think of like vomiting. He thought of, is that a new pitch? He's throwing up in the air. Like, what's he doing? And we both laughed hard at that because he was actually throwing up on the mound or behind the mound and had to be taken out of the game yesterday. One MLB executive on an ESPN panel predicts that Ohtani will sign 11 years, $605 million. That's $55 million a year. That would shatter the record for the largest contract in American sports history, not just baseball. He would likely make close to $100 million a year with all of his endorsements. And I don't think that's very surprising for anybody in the chat room. We've been talking about a potential Ohtani contract for the last probably year now, and really the endorsements would double that contract almost because people just love Ohtani, and he's a very likable guy, so I don't blame him. He's great for baseball. He sells out ballparks all over the country when he comes, and he's just an exciting player. So the Oakland A's, they signed this binding agreement on a 49-acre site west of the Strip, but they're now looking at other potential Vegas baseball stadium sites because they say that the legislative process is lagging. But, all right, I don't know if a binding agreement means binding, but apparently they feel that they can get out of that agreement if they find something else because they're still on the lookout for a new baseball park in Vegas. On this day in 1961, the Mets was chosen as the name for the New York franchise. Other finalists included Continentals, Burros, Skyliners, Skyscrapers, Bees, Rebels, Jets, Avengers, and NYBs. I don't know what NYBs. I guess that's the Bees. Whatever. Anyway, the Mets name was chosen on this day in 1961. Lenny was getting a call on his phone, so I probably cut out for a second. But as I was saying, Sean Murphy's the NL Player of the Week. Masataka Yoshida is the AL Player of the Week. Sean Murphy's the first Atlanta catcher to win NL Player of the Week award since Brian McCann in 2013. Listen to this, he wasn't even among 1,216 selections in the 2013 MLB draft. He walked onto the baseball team at Wright State. He's the best catcher in baseball this year. That's exciting. And Yoshida hit .480 with 2 doubles, 2 homers, and 8 RBIs last week, making him American League Player of the Week.
Laura is here.
Hello.
Cap is here. Danny Flammy is here. Lenny White Cal, Zelmo, Billy Schneider. Holy cow.
Holy cow, Lenny says. He's saying hi to all of you guys. Laura, Billy Schneider, King Hap, Kenny Flamia, and one other one you said.
There's a lot.
He just says, holy cow. Thanks for joining us.
Holy cow. Okay.
Wilson Contreras.
Zelmo. I got Zelmo.
Oh, and Zelmo and Tony. Okay, I can't forget Zelmo and Tony. Wilson Contreras batted 5th as the designated hitter for the Cardinals when he returned to Wrigley Field last night for the first time since he signed with the St. Louis Cardinals. He played 7 seasons with the Cub and won a ring in 2016. Lots of reaction from the fans yesterday at Wrigley Field. They played him a video montage before he came up to bat, and everybody cheered him the first time he got up to bat, but apparently after that, it was all boos. So they say hi, and then they're like, all right, GTFO, that kind of thing. The Cubs called up Christopher Morel. He had a 1.156 OPS this season at AAA. He made his major league debut last year. But you look at Patrick Wisdom, who's slumping again. He's batting .167 with a 42.1% strikeout rate over his last 57 plate appearances. And Nelson Velasquez is not really even being used at all. He's had 12 unsuccessful plate appearances in the last 10 days. So it really does look like Christopher Morel is going to get an opportunity here. We'll talk about him more when we talk about the games because I put some notes in there about what he's doing at AAA, what he did last year and such like that. So, Thanks to multiple blowout wins and way too many one-run losses, the Cubbies still have the second best run differential in the National League and fourth in Major League Baseball, plus 46. They actually, like I said, they have the second best run differential in the National League and the best in the National League Central. The rest of the teams in the National League Central, there's two others with positive, but the Cubbies plus 46, the Pirates plus 18, the Brewers plus 17, the Reds minus 36, and the Cardinals are actually better than the Reds in the run differential spot with negative 19.
Triple plays here.
So I'm going to put this in the chat room real quick. So I'm going to put something in the chat room because I think it's great. You know I love when this stuff happens. So they're talking about on sports media, they're talking about how an unnamed, right? An unnamed, unauthorized source in the Yankees. I got to read it exactly, but let me get it posted here real quick. Just give me 1 second. We're on a break. I had to refresh. Okay. Now I'll read it to the people that can't see the chat room because I love it when this happens. Okay. All right. 1 second again. Okay, here we go. So yesterday, they post, John Boy says he has a show called Talkin' Yanks. He says that he's heard from unverified sources within the Yankees building not to get your hopes up on Rodon pitching this year. And Rodon's wife, Ashley, says quickly, bullshit from a reliable source. So, you know I love when stuff like that happens because the media just... When they're doing unnamed sources and crap, I mean, immediately you have to think to yourself, like, what is going on here? This is really just somebody's opinion, and they did, some unnamed source in there told me. Okay, good. Well, until you can say who your sources are, it's probably not reliable. But I just loved Ashley Rodon's response to this, and so she says he is going to pitch this year. We'll see, but basically just. Loved the tweet, okay? Loved the response. Can't get enough. Teams without a 3-game winning streak this season. Athletics, Cardinals, Royals, and the Yankees. All right? So, Eloy Jimenez, he had an appendectomy. They say that they're expecting him out 4 to 6 weeks. We don't really know if that's cautious or not. Doctors will likely have a clearer picture in a week. Eloy is returning to Chicago today after undergoing appendectomy Saturday in Cincinnati. The Rays are the 5th team in World Series era to start 28-7 or better through 35 games. The previous 4 teams to do so all made the World Series in the same season, going 3-1. The Rays are currently 23rd in baseball in attendance this season. They're averaging 17,137 fans a game. They're still on track to be the highest average attendance since 2014. The Mets' rotation ERA is 5.34. That would be the team's worst ever for a full season. The Mets' rotation, not good so far, but... This writer went on to dog on the Mets. They say, they needed another high-leverage reliever even before Edwin Diaz got hurt. They didn't do it. They needed a hard-hitting DH, which they didn't do. And then he went on complaining about all the things the Mets didn't do before the season. And yes, it's unfortunate that the Mets aren't doing what they expected to do, but it's not for lack of trying, okay? Give me a freaking break. Nobody was complaining about the Mets' lack of trying before the season started, and just because they're not doing good doesn't mean they didn't make an effort. They spent $500 million in this offseason getting players. So this idea that just because they're doing bad, yeah, maybe they made a mistake or whatever, but there wasn't a Mets fan around that was complaining that the Mets didn't get another DH. There wasn't a Mets fan around complaining that they needed another high-leverage bullpen guy because when Edwin Diaz was healthy, their bullpen looked fine. Maybe they needed another patch, right? But what are you going to do? You're going to go out and get some, second-rate bullpen guy? You're going to pay, tens of millions of dollars to this guy? I just think that it's easy now to complain. And even yesterday on the radio, there was another guy, Boomer. You guys know Boomer? He's a big New York
Esiason.
Yeah,
Boomer Esiason.
Boomer Esiason. Everybody knows him in the New York area.
Quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals and the Jets.
All right, whatever he is, he's a sports analyst now. And he talks, he does New York sports. He's on the local AM radio here. And he was complaining. He's just pissed off. He says the Yankees and the Mets have become laughable and unwatchable. $625 million being spent on baseball players in this city just to be a combined 17 games out of first place. The Mets are under 500 and the Yankees are in last place. Cry me a river, okay? Cry me a freaking river. Harrison Bader has 7 barrels in his last 14 games, counting the postseason. It took Bader 62 games with the Cardinals last year to get to 7. And here's the thing about Harrison Bader. It's an interesting little tidbit, and I'd like to point it out. They say that Pete Alonso let Harrison Bader use his bat, and they say that if this continues with Bader finding such a great sweet spot with his barrel rate and stuff, that Brendan Cootie of The Athletic said that it was Alonso's bat that helped turn things around for him. So maybe Alonso has a magic bat. The Astros lost 6-4 yesterday. They're now 17-18. They haven't been 500 or worse this late in a full season since 2016, which was also the last year that they weren't in the American League Championship Series. The Marlins are 11-0 in one-run games this year. They're doing what the Mariners have done the last couple years. The next team to have the most one-run game wins is Tampa. They're 7-2 in one-run games. The Pirates' Jack Suwinski is 1-22 with a 48% strikeout rate over the last 7 games. This guy runs hot and cold, and he could have huge swings up and down. You probably don't want this guy in a points league because week by week he is completely... you just never know what you can expect from this guy. Right now, he's on a downswing. Luis Arias, he has the highest batting average in MLB history for a player's first 1,500 at-bats. That's great. Luis Arias still on a tear with his batting average. We knew that he would be good at that when we drafted him this year. The Yankees, they protected Oswald Peraza from trade offers all offseason, right? Everybody knows I love this guy. I loved him in drafts, and I have him on nearly all my teams. They sent him to the minors because they wanted to bring up, Volpe. But they brought him back up, and now they're not using him. But here's the thing. Here's what the writer said, I'll quote. The Yankees protected Oswald Peraza from trade offers all offseason, but when push comes to shove and they have the chance to get him daily at bats, they let him sit on the bench. So I went and did a little research, and the reason why he's out on the bench is because he has an ankle injury. They say that he hasn't started a game in a week and hasn't made an appearance since last Wednesday because he has a right ankle sprain. He appears to be reasonably healthy, but Aaron Boone said prior to Sunday's game that Peraza was available off the bench. So it looks like he will be limited to a utility role while he's up with the Yankees. But, look, there's a reason why he hasn't been given opportunity to play. It's because he's nursing an ankle sprain. And it's not just because, they're just riding him on the bench for no reason. So that's that about Oswald Peraza. Carlos Carrasco is scheduled to make a rehab start today for Double-A Binghamton. All right, fine. He's scheduled. I'll believe it when I see it, number one. Number two, they say he only needs one rehab start, so that would set him up for a potential return before the end of the Mets road trip. If he only does need one, way to go. He should only need one, or all they're doing is risking getting him hurt again out there. So they said he only needs one rehab. He's scheduled to do that today, but you have to wait to see it to believe it. Yoan Moncada likely still has playing time left in his rehab at Charlotte. It's possible the White Sox will wait until their homestand this weekend to reactivate him. Kansas City designated Franmil Reyes for assignment to accommodate a trade with the Phillies. I really had high hopes for Franmil. We will see what happens. Maybe he'll get put on a different team. He had a pair of 30 homer campaigns under his belt, including 37 homers in 2019. Overall, from 2018 to 2021, he posted a combined .260 batting average, .325 on base percentage, 92 home runs, and 1,540 plate appearances. And he did hit a couple of home runs early in April, but he was optioned to AAA after he went hitless, and he failed to reach base in 20 consecutive plate appearances, which dropped him to a 186 batting average and a .231 on base percentage. His strikeout rate was 36.9%, but he went down to AAA. He went 3 for 15 with a homer, a walk, and 7 strikeouts in 18 total plate appearances. So the Royals have a week to trade him, place him on outright waivers, or release him. His minor league contract that he signed comes with a $2 million base salary. So we'll see what they can do. He's got $2 million coming to him, but in place of him, which isn't really in place of him at all, they're replacing him with a pitcher named James MacArthur, 26 years old, 6'7", 230-pound righty. He's yet to make his big league debut, but I don't know what they're thinking. I mean, the Kansas City Royals pitching is bad, but how bad does it have to be when you're calling up a guy? Well, they haven't called him up yet. He has not made his MLB debut, but clearly they're considering it, even though at AAA Lehigh Valley this season, he's got a 7.31 ERA, a 1.75 whip, and 15-7 strikeout to walk ratio across 16 innings, okay? Now, he started at AAA this year for his first taste of AAA. So that's what he's doing at AAA. It's not impressive at all. 13 runs on 20 hits, 7 walks, and a pair of hit batters. 15 strikeouts in 16 innings. He spent the 2 years before this season, he spent at AA Reading, where he combined for a 4.73 ERA, a 24.7 strikeout rate against an 8.4 walk rate in 131 innings. So he struck out a good amount of batters, but 8.4% walk rate and a 4.73 ERA is not that exciting. That's what he did the last 2 years. They promoted him to AAA. Now he's got an ERA above 7. And my thing is, look, okay, fine, get rid of Franmil. You need some pitching. They made a trade with Philly, whatever. But if you're hanging your hopes on this guy, dude, I mean, you should just forget his name in fantasy at this point. Who knows what they're going to do. But the Royals, they have Major League Baseball's 3rd worst rotation ERA and 4th worst bullpen ERA. So it's not surprising to see them adding a pitcher, but come on now. Anyway, a little notes on Kenley Jansen here before we get started on the games. 6 weeks into his Red Sox career, Kenley Jansen has been great. He's 1-0 with a .84 ERA and 8 saves and 9 chances, 36.4% strikeout rate.
King Hap, yeah.
Yay, King Hap. I don't know. Lenny still thinks you're a Red Sox fan. I know you're always a Red Sox fan, but you're the realist. All right. Kenley Jansen's doing great. He's actually looking a lot like he did when he was with the Dodgers, making all-star teams and stuff like that. But, here's the deal. The Red Sox are 21-15 on this date instead of what they were last year, which was 10-19. And a lot of that has to go to Kenley Jansen. And also, it has to go to Yoshida, right? Because we got to talk about him a little since he's the AL Player of the Week. All right, let's get started on the games. Let me have a sip of my coffee. All right. Detroit beat the Guardians 6-2 yesterday. Riley Green drove in 2 runs, and the Tigers won for the 6th time in 7 games. Ibanez hit a home run and drove in 3. Ibanez got off to a slow start. He went 0 for 10 in his first 4 games with Detroit, but he's batting .529 while hitting in 6 straight games. Joey Wentz allowed a double and a single to start the game, and then he retired 13 of 14 before giving up a pair of walks in the 6th. Jose Ramirez homered for Cleveland. It was only the 19th home run for Cleveland this season, and the Guardians have scored 2 runs or fewer in 5 of 8 games and 3 or less in 22 of 35 games. Detroit tagged Tanner Bybee for 3 runs and 5 hits in the 3rd inning. It could have been a lot worse for him. He ended up with 3 2/3, 4 earned runs, 2 strikeouts, and he walked 4 batters in 3 2/3 innings. Joey Wentz, 5 2/3, 2 earned runs, 5 strikeouts, and 3 walks. Akil Baddoo got caught stealing. Riley Green stole his 4th base. And not a lot else for that game. That's about it for this game. Savali and Tristan McKenzie are scheduled to throw bullpen sessions today at Goodyear, Arizona, and then we'll get an update on when these 2 starters are coming back. The Rays beat the Orioles 3-0. McClanahan, excellent again. 6 innings, 7 strikeouts, 0 earned runs. Against Kyle Gibson, 6 innings, 4 strikeouts, 2 earned runs. Brooks Raley hit his 8th home run. Josh Lowe, number 7. Gotta love Josh Lowe. Lau. Is it Lau? Well, if he's the brother of Brandon, then his name is Lau. All right? McClanahan, this season's first 7-game winner. Josh Lau and Luke Raley homered. Tampa Bay extended its AL East lead to 6.5 games. This is the first 3-game losing streak of the season for the Baltimore Orioles. They still have American League's second-best record, right behind Tampa Bay. Jason Adams struck out 3 in the 9th for his 4th save. The Rays already have 7 shutouts this season so far. The Orioles lost a series opener for the first time all season after winning their first 11 season series openers. Adley Rutschman struck out 3 times. The Rays have an MLB best 21 multi-homer games and are 19-2 when they do that. Only 2 teams in the modern era have posted a better record through 36 games than Tampa Bay's 29-7. McClanahan is 6-0 in 8 career starts against the Orioles. That's a good note for your DFS handbook. Tonight is Grayson Rodriguez against my boy Zach Eflin. Eflin threw 7 scoreless innings on Thursday against Pittsburgh, and he's going up against Grayson Rodriguez tonight, who's 1-0. Colorado-Pittsburgh. Rodolfo Castro hit his 4th homer. Pittsburgh Pirates snapped their 7-game losing streak with a 2-0 victory over the Rockies. Mitch Keller pitched his first career complete game, shut out the Rockies on 4 hits while striking out 8 and walking 1 in a game that took just 1 hour and 55 minutes. Hello? Mitch Keller had never pitched into the 8th inning before last night. It was the first 9-inning shutout by a Pirates pitcher since Jameson Taillon in 2018. Keller threw 77 of his 103 pitches for strikes, and he lowered his career ERA against the Rockies to .39. That's another tidbit for your DFS notebook. You always want to throw Mitch Keller against the Rockies. He's got a .39 ERA in 4 games, 3 of which have been starts. Kyle Freeland, he had a pretty good start. He gave up 2 runs and 7 hits in 7 innings with 4 strikeouts, and he still walked 3, though. That's not great. Ke'Bryan Hayes got caught stealing twice last night. That's his 5th caught stealing on the season. But he did have 2 hits in his 3rd straight multi-hit game. The Pirates still hold a slim lead in the National League Central. The Rockies got 2 hits from Chris Bryant. Colorado entered the game having won 6 of their last 7, but they fell to 5-2 in May after going 7-20 in April. Ji-Hwan Bae missed his 3rd straight game with a sprained left ankle. Tonight, you're going to see Luis Ortiz, right-handed pitcher for the Pirates, making his season debut. He's going to face Connor Siebold, who has a 5.30 ERA. Luis Ortiz joined the team yesterday from Indianapolis and was placed on the taxi squad after going 2-1 with a 2.23 ERA in 7 starts at AAA. The Yankees avoided falling back to 500 for the second time in a week. They're now 19-17, and they beat the Oakland Athletics 7-2. Nestor Cortez rebounded from his worst start with the Yankees and allowed 2 runs on 6 hits in 5+ innings. J.P. Sears got crushed, 5 1/3, 4 strikeouts, 5 earned runs. A couple homers. Aaron Hicks broke out of his season-long slump with a 2-run homer. Gleyber Torres hit a solo home run. Oswaldo Cabrera and DJ LeMahieu both hit 2-run home runs. Hicks came into the night batting 143 overall and was 0 for 19 at Yankee Stadium this season before he hit his homer. He gets booed all the time by Yankees fans. The Yankees won for the 4th time in 10 games without Aaron Judge. He's expected back today, by the way. Aaron Judge expected back today. Laureano is day-to-day in concussion protocol. The Major League worst A's dropped to 8-28 overall. Oakland had 10 hits, but they went 2 for 12 with runners in scoring position and stranded 12 runners in all. Athletics right-handed pitcher Mason Miller felt tightness in his right elbow following Sunday's start, and he's flying back to Oakland to be evaluated. Judge says he won't have any restriction when he returns and will try to avoid head-first slides. That's always a good idea, right? Okay, Oakland Drew Rucinski and Clark Schmidt are going to face each other today. Both have ERAs above 5.5. Kansas City Royals had its highest scoring game this season and won consecutive home games for the first time since last September. They beat the White Sox 12-5. Dylan Cease gave up 7 runs on 9 hits in 5+ innings, and his ERA rose from 4.58 to 5.58. The right-hander had a 2.20 ERA in 32 starts last season when he finished second in AL Cy Young Award voting. So he went 5 innings, 7 earned runs, 6 strikeouts, and 1 walks. Greinke went 5 2/3, 2 strikeouts, 3 earned runs on 6 hits. Let's see here. We have Bobby Witt Jr. stole 2 bases, now is up to 10 stolen bases on the season. Gavin Sheets hit his 4th home run yesterday. MJ Melendez homered and drove in 4 runs. MJ Melendez. Yeah, he homered and drove in 4 runs. Nick Prado had a 3-run double. There was they scored 8 runs in the 6th inning. Kansas City scored 8 runs in the 6th inning. The Royals are averaging nearly 7.5 runs per game in May. Gavin Sheets' home run went 423 feet. Andrew Vaughn had a 2-run double. Jackie Bradley Jr. had a 2-run double and finished 3 for 4 with 2 runs scored. Royals placed lefty Brian Yarbrough on the 15-day injured list with broken bones in his face. Remember, he took a 106-mile-per-hour line drive off the bat of Oakland Ryan Yoda on Sunday. He has 3 non-displaced fractures in different spots around his right eye. He never lost consciousness, and he was responding well to treatment. He was released from the hospital yesterday and will have further tests today. Good news for him. Yoan Moncada, I talked about a little bit. He may rejoin the team during this season, but it's more likely to be when Chicago returns home to host Houston. Tonight is Lucas Giolito against Jordan Lyles. The Brewers defeated the Dodgers 9-3. The Brewers have won their last 2 games after they lost 6 straight. Milwaukee ended its longest skid of the season on Sunday at San Francisco, and the Dodgers lost for just the 2nd time in the last 10 games. Peralta struck out 5 and allowed just 3 hits, 1 run, and 2 walks in 6 innings. He's allowed 5 runs in over 18 innings in his last 3 appearances. Freddie Peralta did a good job. Both of these starting pitchers went 6 innings yesterday. So you got Tony Gonsolin, 6 innings, 6 strikeouts, no earned runs. Only took him 80 pitches to get through 6 innings. That's excellent. Joey Wiemer, 3-run homer. That was his 3rd career homer. Wiley Adames hit a 3-run homer. Joey Wiemer has played great defense and made a seamless transition when he had to shift his primary position from right field to center field when Garrett Mitchell was hurt. He's batting .221 with a .296 on base percentage. He went 2 of 17 during a 6-game trip that concluded on Sunday. He has 4 RBIs on Monday. That was his first since April 29th. Chris Taylor hit a 2-run homer. Milwaukee scored 6 runs in the 7th inning. Max Muncy started at DH for a second straight night. He's fighting through an illness. Roberts says he hopes Muncy is able to return to the field and play third base today. Tonight you get Noah Syndergaard against Eric Lauer. Let me see if there's any other highlights here. Freddie Freeman hit a double. That's good. Yelich stole his 7th base. And Chris Taylor stole his 2nd base. The Cardinals beat the Cubbies 3-1. It was the Cardinals' first win in 12 series openers. Holy crow, people. Let me repeat this. The Cardinals won a series opener for
I predicted it yesterday. Go ahead.
Lenny wants me to tell you that he predicted that the Cardinals were going to win yesterday, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, that was pretty ballsy since they haven't won a series opener.
Why? They're not going to lose every series opener.
Oh, Lenny basically says that he's decided they would win because the odds are against them continuing to lose series openers all year long. The streak of 11 straight losses in series openers to begin the season was a franchise record. It was Chicago Cubbies' 5th loss in 7 games. Lars Nootbaar, King Turd, stole his 4th base yesterday. Miles Mikolas went 4 1/3, 7 strikeouts, 1 earned run, and Marcus Stroman got the loss, even though he went 6 good innings, struck out 6, only 2 earned runs. He still got the loss. And Mikolas didn't get the win, by the way. Genesis Cabrera got the win. He's 1-0 now. He went 1 1/3, 1 hit, 1 strikeout. Wilson Contreras had 2 hits and 2 RBIs in his return to the Cubbies, including a tie-breaking double. Ryan Helsley got his 4th save. Wilson Contreras played for Chicago for 7 seasons before he departed in free agency and signed with their biggest rival for $87.5 million and 5 years with the Cardinals. He waved to the cheering crowd of 30,937 after the Cubs showed a pregame tribute video. He was greeted with more applause before he batted for the first time in the 2nd inning, but it was mostly boos for the rest of the game. After each of his hits, Contreras stood on base with his hands in the air, egging on the crowd for a response. Dansby Swanson hit an RBI double in the 5th to account for Chicago Cubbies' only run. Nico Hoerner departed with left hamstring tightness after he got hurt running the bases in the 5th. Hoerner is batting .303 on the season. Now, we talked a little bit about Christopher Morel. We should touch a little more on him. He's an exciting youngster. From AAA Iowa, they promoted him yesterday. They optioned outfielder Nelson Velasquez, who they weren't using anyways. Morel made his big league debut last year. He batted .235 with 16 home runs, 47 RBIs, and 10 stolen bases in 113 games with Chicago. This year at AAA, he was hitting .330 with 11 homers and 31 RBIs in 29 games. So he's on fire down there, and it does look like the Cubbies are going to give Christopher Morel a good shot to play, opportunity to play every day, especially with Patrick Wisdom, who I know you guys spent a lot of money picking up because after his first slump of the season, people started dropping him, or maybe he never got drafted at all. And then now he's right back in the rut that he was at the beginning. Nolan Arenado was scratched because he has neck stiffness and what the team says is a precautionary move. Tonight is Jack Flaherty and Jameson Taillon. Taillon is looking for his first win in his 5th start for Chicago since signing with the team in free agency. The Angels beat Houston 6-4. The Angels bounced back after being outscored 26-9 in losses to Texas on Saturday and Sunday. The third time in the past 6 games that the Angels have come back to win when they either trailed or were tied after 7 innings. And the Astros have lost 5 of their last 6. Hunter Brown, 4 1/3. I like this kid. Not a great day yesterday. 3 strikeouts, 4 1/3 innings, 4 earned runs, 9 hits. He went up against Patrick Sandoval, who threw 6 1/3, 2 strikeouts, 4 earned runs on 7 hits. Ohtani had a pair of RBI doubles. Brandon Drury, 7th career triple. Taylor Ward had 3 hits. Hunter Renfroe, he hit his team-leading 9th homer and homered in consecutive games for the second time this season. He extended his hitting streak to 7 games. David Hensley came into the game batting .129, put the Astros up 4-3 when he led off the 5th inning with a solo homer. It was the third baseman's first homer of the season and only his second hit in his last 36 at-bats. Ohtani is 8 for 24 with 4 RBIs in May, and his batting average improved to .301 after the 2 for 4 night. Matt Moore pitched 1 2/3 scoreless innings, and Carlos Estevez retired the Astros in order in the 9th for his 8th save. That's excellent. I have this guy on one of my teams, and I'm very pleased about it. Carlos Estevez, the closer in Los Angeles. Alex Bregman triple. Yordan Alvarez and Jose Abreu followed with RBI doubles. Astros outfielder Chas McCormick was activated off the injured list. He missed the past 20 games with lower back tightness. And tonight is going to be Framber Valdez against Ohtani. Valdez is tied for the Major League lead with 6 quality starts in his first 7 outings. And you know all about Ohtani. I don't need to clarify that. Arizona Diamondbacks beat the Marlins 5-2. How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing, Leonard?
Everybody is fantastic.
Is anybody chatting today?
Yes, fantastic chat room.
More chatting, please.
Fantastic chat room. Laura's going crazy.
I feel like you're falling asleep over there, Leonard.
Are you kidding? You read the chat room when you're done. You'll see how much I'm falling asleep.
Okay. Arizona Diamondbacks beat the Marlins 5-2. The Diamondbacks finished with 13 hits and improved to 20-15 on the season. They won 4 of their last 5 games. The Marlins have lost 6 of their past 7. They fell to 17-19. Braxton Garrett pitched well until the 6th inning. He threw 5 1/3 innings, 4 runs on 6 hits while striking out 6. And my boyfriend, Zach Gallen, cruised through Miami's order, giving up just 1 run on 5 hits and struck out 7. You know, Gallen actually played for the Marlins before getting traded to the Diamondbacks in 2019. Christian Walker, 459-foot homer. He only needs 3 more homers to get to 100 career home runs. It was his 6th homer in the past 8 games, so Christian Walker on a tear. The home run came off his bat at 114.1 miles per hour, is the hardest hit ball at Chase Field this season. It was his 9th home run of the season, and he hit 36 last year, so he's right on track to be doing that again. He needs 3 more homers to get to career 100. Gabriel Moreno had a 3-hit night, including a double. Gene Segura was pissed off, acting out because he sucks. He's batting .186 this season with a .235 on base percentage, and he's pissed off about it. And he was ejected in the 6th inning because he decided to argue with the with the guy behind the plate. All right. He was angry about this ball that he didn't think was a strike, but the umpire said it was right in the corner, and he called a strike, and then Gene Segura was so pissed off, and he was slamming his hat and doing all kinds of shit, so he got kicked out of the game. And then Lourdes Gurriel. I love this kid. I'm very proud of him. He was not in the starting lineup yesterday, but he had a great excuse for not being in the lineup, for being late to the park, and that is because he was becoming a U.S. citizen, and I think that is great. Him and his brother, both born in Cuba, defected to the United States in 2016. Yuli and Lourdes came together And I'm sure that story has much more details to it than what I know. But I could tell you that it's not an easy trip to make. And I've heard some great stories about how some of these baseball players have come and defected to the United States. But anyways, very proud of Lourdes. He's a U.S. citizen now, and that's great. Diamondbacks rookie Brandon Pfaadt is going to pitch tonight. He's going to make his second big league start, and the Marlins will counter with the Malpal's favorite pitcher, Jesus Luzardo. All right, Texas Rangers beat the Mariners 2-1. Seattle had won 6 of 7 and was trying to move over 500 for the first time since they won on opening day. John Gray. Had to make sure it was the right Gray. John Gray gave up 4 hits over 7 innings. He struck out 8 and walked none. And Texas won its 3rd straight game. One night after the Rangers put up 16 runs against the Angels on the road, Logan Gilbert mowed down their high-scoring lineup for 6 innings. He struck out 7 consecutive batters from the 2nd inning through the 4th inning, and he matched a franchise record. He needed only 72 pitches to strike out 9 of his first 18 hitters, and he ended up striking out 10 in 6 2/3 innings. John Gray, 8 strikeouts, 1 earned run, 7 innings pitched. Both of these guys had great outings yesterday. Marcus Semien ended Logan Gilbert's perfect game with a leadoff single in a 2-run 7th inning. Ty France homered. That was the 2nd home run of the season and the first since opening day. He's not having a good season. Will Smith got his 5th save. Now the Rangers shortstop Corey Seager is going to begin a minor league rehab assignment on Thursday. Travis Jankowski will miss a few days after leaving Sunday's game with hamstring tightness, and the team is expected to make a roster move today. J.P. Crawford was scratched from the lineup. He took a foul ball off his knee on Sunday, and Colton Wong returned after missing Sunday's game with a wrist injury. Tonight you get to see Andrew Heaney Andrew Heaney is going up against Arizona, and George Kirby will go up against Oakland. George Kirby pretty good. He's got a 3-2 record with a 3.11 ERA. He's making his 7th start of the year. All right, hold on a minute. I don't know who the hell these guys are pitching tonight. Kirby is not going against Oakland today. He gave up 3 runs in 7 innings versus Oakland in his last start. But he's making his 7th start of the year tonight. I assume he's going up against Andrew Heaney. Andrew Heaney allowed 6 runs and 3 homers against Arizona. So, somewhere out there you're going to see Heaney and Kirby tonight. Washington beat San Francisco Giants 5-1. The Nationals are still in last place in the National League East. San Francisco lost its 2nd straight after a 4-game winning streak. Jake Irvin pitched for the Nationals. The manager, Dave Martinez, was pleased with how Jake Irvin composed himself in his Major League debut last week, and he was even more impressed with how the rookie handled himself in his first start on the road last night. He struck out 5 and 6 in the 3rd innings and earned his first career victory. That was his 2nd career start and first on the road. He didn't give up a run in a dominant outing. Limited the Giants to 4 hits and was backed by a defense that turned double plays in 3 of the first 4 innings. He walked 3 and lowered his ERA to .84. Unfortunately, DeSclafani allowed 10 hits and 5 runs in 7 innings. Washington jumped on DeSclafani with 7 singles in his first 18 pitches. Joey Meneses and Dominic Smith RBI singles. Alex Call had a 2-out RBI single. C.J. Abrams singled in a pair of runs to put Washington up 5-0 in the first inning. Luis Garcia singled twice and had a multi-hit performance in his 4th consecutive games. Alex Call, the Nationals' new everyday center fielder, had an RBI double. You know, he's playing since Victor Robles was placed on the injured list on Monday. Martinez said before the game that he plans to use Call as the team's primary center fielder until Robles returns, although he did leave the door open to use other players there too. Jock Peterson hit a home run. Brandon Crawford did some sprinting and took the infield as he works his way back from a calf injury. Alex Wood is nearing a return from the injured list. I hope that doesn't mean that Dave Sclafani loses his job. Tonight you get to see Patrick Corbin against my boy Logan Webb. And that is it. I'm 10 minutes early, Leonard. Do you have anything to say?
I'm putting it in the chat room.
I think he's probably putting the phone number in the chat room. And thanks everybody for hanging out today. We really appreciate it. And of course, Lenny will be back tomorrow. He just needed a break every once in a while. When you're doing podcasts 7 days a week, you got to have a little break. And I know there are some issues in some of our leagues, and I will go and fix those issues after this show. So if you're involved in one of those issues, just know I'm on top of it. And that's it. Have a great day, everybody.